Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, remember, these are companies that I used as an athletic director. They're all great companies. I really recommend that you check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Toolbox Extra guest, and then go and visit each one of these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame. You know, if you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen, that's right, touchscreen video consoles. Put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway. It's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to thank Home Campus. Whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, you're going to use Home Campus every day. Their athletic clearance and eligibility platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com and don't forget to mention you heard about it on the podcast. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to their website, take a look at their products, and as always, don't forget to mention the podcast, sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank our good friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. If you've ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school and had tremendous success, and I know you will too. Check out their other great platforms, but if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. We want to say thank you to our friends at Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team help you become a social media marketing genius. Whether it's a small post to celebrate a win or an entire newsletter, the team at Gipper is going to have you up and running in no time. Your colors, your logos, your branding, it's all there. Go to Gipper.com. We'd like to thank Hometown for their support. Whether you're looking for fundraising, athletic website construction, how about digital ticketing? The team at Hometown is who you want to talk to. As principals, as ADs, as coaches, we're leaders. And Hometown is going to show you how to save time, how to raise more money, and how to bring your community closer together. The website is hometown.com. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast. We want to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while you're earning your degree, you also complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to say thanks to our friends at athleticsurveys.com. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes, your coaches, how about your parents? You're really missing out. Talk to the pros at Athletic Surveys. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take your program from good to great. Go to athleticsurveys.com. And as always, tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another Toolbox Extra of the Educational AD podcast. And I guess we can say happy Thanksgiving since this is airing on Thanksgiving Day. We have what I love to call a friend of the show, a longtime friend of the show. He's been with us, I think, pretty much since we started doing these, going on our sixth year now for the podcast. We're going to visit today with John Townsend. John's the founder, the CEO of one of our great sponsors. You hear me talk about it every episode, Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're not familiar with the product, you need to go to the website and check it out because Their units are fantastic. So let's get the welcomes out of the way. John Townsend, welcome to the Toolbox Extra.
Thanks, Jake. It's great to see you. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in Tampa
Oh,
in
no,
person.
absolutely. And again, for listeners, John is always, and his team, they're always at the National AD Conference. It's going to be in Tampa this year. Please stop by the booth. I always try to spend a little bit of time there. I would love to meet you and just tell you how much I enjoy the products that John can make available to you and your school. Well, John, let's go and jump right in. And it's kind of interesting. You have actually recently changed the name of
Yeah.
the company. That's kind of a big deal. Why the change? And what is it?
Well, so first of all, I want to say I think everybody should do this every 5 or 10 years because it's a lot of fun. No, it's not at all. So it's going to be a little bit of a painful process. It's going to take us a couple of years to get through this. But we have been Vital Signs for 25 years, started off as a digital signage company to commercial customers. But now, more recently, in the last 6 to 8 years, we've focused more and more on helping high schools celebrate the achievements of their students. So, where Vital Signs was really focused on selling a thing, a digital screen, we are now more understanding that what we're really selling to high schools is an experience that their visitors, their students, their staff, their alumni get when they come up and interact with this screen. So, technology doesn't really engage anybody anymore. Everybody has it. Everybody knows what it is. What's actually really engaging is the compelling stories we can tell about the school in this interactive setting in the building. So we wanted to shift away from selling a thing to selling an experience. So we've rebranded ourselves Beacon Creative. So I'll talk a lot about NADC today, I'm sure. But as you go down there, first of all, the first thing I'd like to say is you can't miss us no matter what you're looking for because we're a huge presence. And I really, really appreciate NIAAA and NFHS for everything that they do with this show. But you'll see us moving to Beacon Creative, and I invite you to come and actually talk to us and find out everything that's new and how we're really trying to elevate the celebration of your students by telling stories instead of just displaying stuff.
Yeah, very well put. And again, for somebody who might be new to the product, the Wall of Fame, as John mentioned, was a digital display that allowed and still allows you to, for example, showcase your school record boards in a digital fashion, all in one location. Maybe it's a wall mount, maybe it's a console in the middle of your gym lobby. You can also upload all of your school's history, Hall of Fame, and then some. And John's staff does a great job of helping you upload that and getting it started. But John also mentioned the storytelling, and you first shared that with me. I'm going to say a number of years ago, and it's just so true because I've seen it in action of people coming up to the unit, if you will, the physical display, but just immediately getting sucked in to the history of that particular school and how they are sharing their story. Can you share how you got that idea, yeah, how you kind of made, I guess, a shift a little bit from product, from object to storyteller?
Yeah, and so it's interesting because we started off just doing what I refer to nowadays as a plaque and trophy replacement product, right? But to be honest with you, the plaques and trophies as pictures on a screen are about as interesting as the plaques and trophies hanging on the wall are, and nobody's really paying any attention to that. But we came to understand that behind each of those plaques and behind each of those trophies is a really cool story about that person. And so two-thirds of our staff now is on our creative team, responsible for just taking that plaque and that trophy and making a bigger deal out of it. So we started doing this for Wall of Fame customers in order to make them successful, but then started to realize that if you have some reason you don't want a Wall of Fame, if you can't afford the ticket price of a Wall of Fame, we can't really provide you with any value. So we stepped back from that a little bit and said, okay, but the value we provide is storytelling and it's independent of the thing. So why don't we sell the storytelling independent of the thing and allow schools at a much, much lower price point to tell more compelling stories about the kids in the building? So that's what got us to our Spotlight product. And it's actually the product that Beacon Creative is going to start leading with more in 2026. So the Spotlight product is about creating high quality digital content regardless of the platform in the school. So the example I always give are video scoreboards. Okay, for the schools that have video scoreboards, yeah, you've got some cool graphics for when you score a touchdown and things of that nature, but I know a lot of people struggle for what you put on there before the game, at halftime, during breaks, and so forth. So we want to get high quality stories about the kids in the building and the alumni from the school on there. Got a school was just talking to me this morning. He said, "Wow, we just had our 20th anniversary of our last state high school football championship. We could have really used your help in kind of telling the story of that team and getting that out in front of everybody that night at that school." So that's kind of what we're looking at now is how do we tell these stories? How do we create this great content, but not have to have you buy a wall of fame in order to display it? So Spotlight is really about going through that process. Okay. Now, the other thing that we're offering that's new that you can see at NADC is what we're calling Oracle. So Spotlight is our creation of stories, whether you own a wall of fame and we're creating it for that, or you don't and we're creating it for something else. Oracle is now our ability to manage the non-interactive screens in the school. So what we started to understand was a lot of these schools, and I've run into two ADs in the last 3 weeks. One said, "Oh, that's funny because there's a screen right next to my gym that's been turned off for 18 months." Another one said he just went into the school office and said, "Advertising that event from last June isn't doing me any good," right? So schools just don't have the time or the energy or the skill set to manage all of these digital platforms that they've purchased. And so we want to go in and do that. So not only will we create the content for your wall of fame, your non-interactive screens, or your scoreboards, but we'll manage that content as well. So the best way to describe that is, if you've got a really cool graphic for senior night or senior tribute for students, somebody still has to go collect all that information. Somebody still has to go build each of the 42 instances of that graphic for each senior, right? We're going to do that for you too. So it's really kind of a turnkey solution for the entire storytelling experience, from creating the cool graphic to maybe even writing a written story out for you and then loading all of that onto whatever platform you'd like to display it on.
And all those things that you just mentioned, let's say maybe even 3, 4 years ago, those were, like, wow, those are, really high level extra things. Now people have been exposed to those types of programs,
Yeah.
and it's kind of an expectation. So if you don't have that in your toolbox, if you will, as an AD, and you don't have that staff, wow, what a great service that you guys can provide to make that extra special event happen.
Mhm.
Well, let's go on. We still use the in our reads. We're still using vitalsignswalloffame.com. If our listeners want to find out more before NADC to maybe have some more questions to ask, how do they find out more? What's the best way they can get a hold of you and your team at Beacon Creative?
So first of all, you set me up a little bit here, Jake, but that's fine because I think this is funny. It is now called getmywalloffame.com because right now the Beacon site is not up yet. It will be up between now and NADC. So we'll get to that. So when I talked about how much fun it is rebranding your company, welcome to being in the middle of rebranding the company. But we decided in order to get our messaging out, instead of doing a big bang and making sure every I was dotted and T was crossed before we launched, we would never get there. So we went ahead and launched it. But of course, you can get a hold of me at john@beaconwalloffame.com or john@vitalsignswalloffame.com, or just in a carrier pigeon. I mean, it all kind of works. So we're working our way through that transition as far as trying to get a hold of us. And I will guarantee you that I'll get you a new ad read, a new link, and all of that. So they're following this episode. You can make sure that everybody knows how to find us. And of course, we've got a huge booth with a bunch of stuff flying at NADC in a couple of weeks.
Hey, thanks for sharing that. We'll give out that contact information again at the end of this segment. But, you mentioned stories. What are some of the stories that schools have shared with you that, you have helped them share with their stakeholders?
Well, it's really interesting because the more you do this, the more they kind of start to come out of the woodwork, right? So first of all, everybody has to understand that it's any type of story. So it's not just an athletic achievement. It's not necessarily just about somebody in the school now. It could be somebody who graduated. It could be a staff member. It could be anything. We do a lot of academic stories. We do a lot of fine art story, military recognition, alumni spotlights, pretty much across the whole board there. But to give you a few examples, kind of how we've taken an event and turned it more into a story. We were told that a young lady won Coach of the Year at a school in volleyball. Would you go out? And basically all the AD said was, Here's your email address. Could you go out and put something together for us? Well, it turns out that this person actually has three mental health degrees, and she coaches high school girls sports in order to apply what she's learned from those mental health degrees to help girls navigate those years through high school. Right? It was a really, really compelling message that we would have gotten, would never would have gotten otherwise. We've got a quarterback that broke a number of school records, went to do a story on him. Turns out he stays after every home game for as long as is needed to play catch with some of the youth athletes in the city. Win, lose, doesn't matter. He's always kind of there helping the youth out. And the parents in the city just absolutely adore the guy for that reason, even more so than his accolades on the field. We've got an alum school with an alum that helped design the skyline in New York City, right? So from an academic point of view, right, there's a lot of you've got alums that have been in political office. You've got alums that have done significant research. There's all kinds of alums out there that we can go out and highlight. Got a school right now asking us to go through their 46 Hall of Fame inductees, try to reach out to them and talk to them about kind of what did playing sports in high school help them with through their lives. So we're walking through that process of trying to contact all of those alums and Hall of Fame inductees to kind of get that done. So the way I kind of encapsulate all of that is, okay, you win a state championship, you put a trophy and a ball in a trophy case. And 10 years from now, all anybody knows about that team is that trophy and that ball. And that team went through a lot. The players on that team, the staff on that team, the school community as a whole went through a lot that year that they won that championship. And it's just never really captured. And that's what we're after. Like what really went in to winning that championship that year? What can we get in front of people so that 10 years from now, there's a much more compelling story for somebody to look back on. That's sort of the get away from the thing and move toward the experience.
Boy, just incredible. And again, every school, any AD that's listening right now, they have those types of stories with, their students, with the support people, with, the athletes that, we're always, looking for ways to recognize them. Um, Earlier on, we talked a little bit about, cost slash value. I can say without hesitation, the value of a wall of fame display is incredible, tremendous return on investment. But with the storytelling, what do you think is the biggest value proposition for
Yeah, so
ADs
here's
that
the
have
thing.
now?
Yeah, here's the thing. So you look at a wall of fame, and a wall of fame, it is great, and there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of people picked up doing it, there is a market, and it is out there doing it. But what a lot of ADs will hear is it's $15,000 and a lot of work I've got to go through. Because no matter how much we try to help, there's some work associated with that. There really is, right? We help as much as we can, but I can't walk into school and take pictures of every trophy. I mean, I just can't. There's just no way to do that, right? Now you step back and you look at the value proposition of Beacon, and we can do a high school senior tribute, okay? And the AD doesn't have to lift a finger. I need access to the people. So this is the way this works. We did this at a local school here. We put together a graphic, the school approves the graphic. They send out an email to every single senior in fall sports with a link in it to a site that we host. The parents, the kids, whoever does it, goes to that site, fills out some information. Our team takes that information, puts it into the tribute, puts it on the scoreboard. No time and not a lot of money. Okay, not $15,000 to do that. Not a long-term commitment, not anything of that nature, right? What we're telling people is you've got something you'd like help with, whether it's signing day or whatever it is, let us help with one thing. Pay us a few $100s to help with one thing. Let's see how it goes. Let's build up that relationship and build up that trust and build up that entire setup where you now understand that all I have to do to tell this great story at my school is send them these four pieces of information and they'll run with it and get me back what it is that I'm looking for. So I would have loved to have done the 20th anniversary celebration for that gentleman I talked to this morning, but that is unfortunately in the past. But they're about to win their 600 football game, not this season, probably next season. And that's going to be a big deal. And he's like, we could do a countdown to that. That's what I'm looking for. You've got that event. You want some help with us, give us a holler. We'll build an entire campaign around that can go on non-interactive screens on your website, in a newsletter, on your scoreboard, wherever that information needs to go in order to reach the public. Let us help out. So the value proposition for me, it's time. It always is, right? It's time and money. Okay. Spend less money, spend a lot less time. Let us help you out. And then we can start to prove the value of storytelling. And then the Wall of Fame becomes a much more viable project for you because we're already kind of in there helping you with the stories at the school already.
Right. Hey, it sounds like just a tremendous return on investment. No time at all, but wow, what a payoff. And, having, been a teacher, a coach, and AD for 41 years, and I'm still involved, I know how much parents and stakeholders appreciate those types of messages. You really can't put a value on it because it pays so much. You and I were talking. You also have a new partnership with one of our great partners, K-12 Sports Tech. What's going on with that? How's that going?
Yeah. So really it's two things. So I'll talk about the simpler one first. So when you do something like what we're doing with Beacon, you really don't know whether there's a market out there for it. So anybody with any sense whatsoever is going to do market research with that. So the K-12 Sports Tech AD think tank provides us access with very forward-thinking progressive athletic directors and principals and administrators that we can sit down with on a one-on-one basis and talk to them about exactly what we're talking about here. We think we want to do this. Is there value in that? We think we want to do this. Is there value in that? And get unbelievable feedback on a one-by-one basis with these ADs as we're trying to build this product and trying to lay this out. And it's been invaluable to us in going through this process is to get K-12 Sports Tech to connect you as a vendor to that AD community that allows you to then really get detailed feedback back from that regard. The other thing is what I jokingly refer to Abby as FOMO. I went to their AD think tank event at NADC last year and really, really wished we were a part of it. It was an unbelievable event. It's a fantastic thing she's got going on there with Alec and the team. And so I'm like, I want in. I was like, I want in on this, right? So it turns out one of the things they're doing this year too is they're putting workshops together over the course of the next 6 or 9 months associated with that same thing. So we're kind of sponsoring and supporting that as well. So there's not only an opportunity to see us at NADC in general, but there's an opportunity to see us at the K-12 think tank appreciation night and through these workshops next year. So yeah, I think what Abby is doing with K-12 is absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to really help ADs get the right technology into their schools, technology that they understand, and it's really going to help vendors make sure their technology is meeting the needs of the K-12 community in terms of what we're putting out there. Because I mean, we don't want to build something that ADs don't want, so we've got to figure out a way to find out where that value proposition lies, and they provide an excellent source for that.
Yeah. Not to pat myself on the back too much, but I was one of the early members of the AD think tank, and I was so glad to see you come on as a member of their vendor part of that vendor directory, so I could say all the great things that I
Yep.
think that Wall of Fame is doing.
Yeah, so as Alec, for those of you who know the think tank, as Alec will attest to, when Abby and I get to talking, it's just like, it's like we can go on for hours. So it's a fantastic thing to be part of.
You mentioned we've mentioned NADC a couple of times, and K-12 is going to have that event. We encourage athletic directors to attend. Anything else that coming up in the next couple of weeks? Because conference is going to be here very quickly.
Yeah, it is. So I get a Thanksgiving week and then one more week of somewhat work, and then it's just all conference for us for 2 weeks straight. What I would encourage people to do is when you see us at the conference this year, understand we've gone beyond the Wall of Fame, and we really think there are ways for us to be able to help you out. So give us, a couple of, if you're going to go through the trade show, give us a couple of minutes to try to explain what those are and see if we can't meet a need at your school without necessarily the large capital outlay. Of course, if you're interested in the Wall of Fame, we'd like to see you as well because we that still is going to be a key component of what we do. And all those storytelling features that I talk about apply to the Wall of Fame. That's where they were born, right? They were born from this Wall of Fame experience. We've just now taken them and allowed them to live on their own, as a standalone product. But you still get all that storytelling advantage with the interactive experience in the school. Which, if you see these things on the wall, they are really pretty cool looking in terms of the engagement you get with the community and with the student body.
Yeah, and again, athletic directors, you're listening. You know all those great stories that your kids, your coaches, your parents, your community members have lived in your school. stop by the booth, share them with John and his team, see what they can do for you and your program to help you share those stories. And if a Wall of Fame works into it, why not? Let's do that. Uh, John, one more time, the current website and where I
And
know where we're going.
so,
Just give our
so
listeners something to
yeah.
zero in on.
Yeah, I'll do this as easy as I can. First of all, because we're rebranding, everything that you currently know about us will still work. So if you send an email to vitalsciencewalloffame.com, it'll work. If you visit vitalsciencewalloffame.com, it'll work. All of that's still going to work for everybody. But we are changing to beaconcreative.us and beaconwalloffame.com. So those are the two new URLs, but everything will work. Everything will get you to us. It's just a bunch of different ways to get to the same place and get to the same people.
Okay. Well, again, thanks so much for everything you do in this space. Thanks for your continued support of the
Yep.
podcast, and definitely looking forward to seeing you and the team down in Tampa.
Yep. In your backyard, so to speak.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. I
There
can
you
actually
go.
drive to the conference this year. Okay.
I drive to the conference too, but I'm coming down from Ohio, so it's not quite the same thing.
Well, thanks again for coming on. We'll see you in a couple weeks. For our listeners, we also want to say thanks to you for tuning in and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Toolbox Extra just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. And we'll look forward to seeing you in Tampa. Hey, John Townsend, great guy. And again, the company has been Vital Signs Wall of Fame for years. They're changing to Beacon. All that's going to be coming out, but you can still get in touch with them at vitalsignswalloffame.com. I want to say thanks to all of our other great sponsors, Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Tables, Gipper. I want to say thanks to Home Campus and Snap Race. Also want to thank Huddle for their support. Athletic Surveys. I want to thank Hometown. I also want to give a shout out to K-12 Sports Tech. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.